That brings us to Ayurveda 101. Now let's get into Ayurveda a little bit and the history of it and where it comes from. So Ayurveda is traditionally known as the oldest medicine system in the world that we know of. And I made the mistake of, I was in China teaching. There was about 1,200 people in this audience, I mean, this huge audience. So I was talking just casually, and I was like, and Ayurveda is the oldest medicine in use today. And this lady stood up over there and shouted something to me in Chinese, which turned out to be, "No, it isn't." So I was like, okay, I made a big mistake here. I shouldn't have said that. And so I said, well, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, are the oldest medicines in use today. Because Ayurveda is about keeping the peace. And so it's definitely, what we consider the oldest or one of the oldest. But the tradition really comes from what we call the Vedas. So the Vedas are the books of knowledge. Veda means knowledge. So Ayurveda is knowledge, the science of life or science of knowledge. And so the Vedas, we don't know exactly how old they are, but they're much older than any books we know of today. And within one of the books, where Rig Veda, Ayurveda is mentioned in there, and in Atharva Veda as well, in one of the other books. So it's an old tradition, but the Ayurveda that we know today and books have really been brought about 5,000 years ago through physicians, people like Charak and Shushrut. They brought what we know and what we use today. So it's still very old, and ancient knowledge doesn't go away. It really pertains to today. It's not something that it was for then and it's not now, because Ayurveda is about natural living. Right? That's why you're already using it, and we'll get into it a little bit more. But everything about nature, right? The trees, the wind, the sun, the food, the ground, everything is Ayurveda. And the difference is in how you use it, it becomes Ayurvedic, it becomes a science. So when you use it in the correct way, it's Ayurveda, because it's the science of life. When you misuse it, it becomes something different. So really that's why Ayurveda is in your life already. So nature and the way you practice Ayurveda, Ayurveda comes in the form of lifestyle, in the form of food, in the form of drinks, like we're speaking about today with herbal teas. But there's also treatments in Ayurveda, treatments on the body, treatments inside the body, because you're natural and organic and your body is organic, it needs maintenance. So Ayurveda teaches you how to maintain your body, your energy level, your weight, everything else, and your skin, And the skin and the eyes and the nails and every part of you tell a story. And if you get to know that story, it's really wonderful. So when you get up in the morning, the next time or tomorrow, you'll probably remember this, and you'll remember me saying it. When you look in the mirror, don't think, how do I look? Because that's sort of more on the surface. Really look at yourself. How are my eyes? How are my skin? How do I feel inside? Because we put so much attention on the outside that we forget, we got a surface here to look at, which will actually tell us what's happening within us. And that's really how Ayurveda works for you. It's starting to get to know yourself. So if your nails are dry or your skin is dry, there's a reason for that. You start to get to know how to treat yourself. So Ayurveda is about getting treatment from a doctor or a therapist or a practitioner, but you are also that practitioner, or you should be, because self-study and self-preservation is a big part of what you should be doing. So this is really your responsibility. And at this point, I want to say, Tetley leading the way is great, because when you got a big company steps into this arena, people take notice, and that's a great thing. And the reason I say they're being brave is because Ayurveda in North America is starting to pick up. People starting to hear about it. So having them start to sort of lead the way. And the attitude of education is amazing, because the product works, but people need to know about it. And they need to be educated on it so they can see how it works and then how to use it. And then to experience it and see how it works for them. Because again, you're individual, so you need to know how to use these things.